Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and absolute pleasure to be with you. First of all, a slight apology, still on my laptop until I get back to my flat. That remains the case, and it's going a little longer than I'd hoped. What isn't lasting a bit longer than I'd hoped is the laptop, which I guess is it's on its last legs, only in the sense that the fan gets so loud that it's clearly quite offensive to some of the people listening. I'm sorry about that. You may just have to pass on these videos until I'm back, and I think that'll be from Monday at the worst. And I will obviously then have to get myself a new laptop, I suppose. Any recommendations for ones that I can afford that the fans don't get too loud on would be marvellous, but I understand that it's just a perennial problem of laptops that they have to have fans to keep their engines cool. It's really not the microphone. The microphone is not the problem. It's just the fan noise that gets into the background during these videos. So you have the choice to miss this video, but it'll be a very interesting puzzle. Lithium-ion has taken on the challenge of an empty grid. No clues in the grid. They're all in the, I was going to call it the preamble because I've been thinking about cryptic crosswords lately, but they're all in the rule set, which is, it's always a balance in an empty grid puzzle. You can empty the grid, or you can put something in the grid and reduce the rule set, or you can have a really long rule set. Now, I am always very impressed by an empty grid puzzle with a medium or short rule set, and I think this qualifies. And you can judge that for yourself in a moment. Don't forget, we will be coming out with a new bit of Patreon content on the 1st of September. Really looking forward to bringing that to you. And it's still in testing at the moment, but I think it's going to be good. We've got that coming up. There's always other content on Patreon as well. Do check it all out. It's well worth your time and money. So are our apps, which of course feature the newest Approachable Sudoku app and the Miracle Sudoku app. It's not certain that every empty grid qualifies as a miracle, but they are remarkable, and we'll look at this one in a moment. Now, there's also our merchandise and Sven's Sudoku pad on the links under the video, but the first link is to Mathemagics by Lithium-ion, so it joins his battery of puzzles on the channel, and the rules are as follows. You can decide if these qualify as a medium length rule set. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That's 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. We have to draw a 1 cell wide loop that moves orthogonally through the center of cells and doesn't branch, intersect with itself, or touch itself either orthogonally or diagonally. The loop has to visit each box at least once. That's what I'm trying to do here. So that would be a loop that visits each box at least once and doesn't touch itself orthogonally or diagonally. Please don't count sort of the moves around the corner as touching itself diagonally. For each box, the maximum number of cells belonging to the loop is k, where k is the box number. So this loop breaks the rule in box 1 because 1 is the maximum number of cells in that box on the loop. Within each box, the box number itself has to be part of the loop. Boxes are numbered in normal reading order, so this is 1 in the top left, 2 in the top middle, 3 in the top right, then 4, etc. 2 orthogonally adjacent cells are only allowed to contain digits that sum to 7 or 10 if both cells are not part of the loop. So you can't have a domino summing to 7 or 10 if either of the cells is on the loop. The 24 cells that are enclosed by the loop have to contain 2 magic squares. A magic square is a 3x3 region containing the digits from 1 to 9 once each, where each row, column and diagonal must sum to the same value. That is the 3 cell diagonals in a magic square. Right. If you know what a magic square is, then you'll understand those rules fine. And those must be why the puzzle is called Mathemagics. I think, you can memorize that rule set. You're not going to have to reread those rules again and again, maybe to get this very specific number of 24 cells that are enclosed by the loop. That's about it. But it's a very clever idea. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I don't think we've ever seen an empty grid loop puzzle before, so hats off to Lithium Ion for the achievement, whatever happens. I am going to tackle the puzzle now. Do try it on the first link under the video. I suspect it'll be a great ride. Might be tough though. Let's get cracking. So I think we start with box 1. If the loop only touches a maximum of 1 cell in box 1, surely that cell has to be here. Yeah, it must be, because it's a loop. It carries on in both directions. So I reckon we can draw that part of the loop. I'm going for purple for the loop colour. And the loop's not allowed to touch itself diagonally, so I'm going to make that cell non-loop, and I'm going to use green for non-loop. And we know the digit, don't we? Because there's a rule that the box number has to be visited. So these other cells in box 1 are non-loop and go green. Now, in box 2, which is here, we're only allowed to visit 2 cells. Well, the loop has to continue, and then it's got to get out of that box. And now I'm worried that we're going to hit touch diagonally, but of course this is not box 2, this is box 4, so not a problem. And then we can fill in those, and there is a 2 in one of these cells. I don't think this rule about no 7 or 10, I guess that tells me there's no 5 in those cells, or 8, but not information I was after. Now we've got this start to the loop. And this green, that has to get out. That's normally a concept we talk about in yin-yang or cave puzzles or something. But here, we know there are going to be 24 cages enclosed by 24 cells. Sorry, I don't know where cages came from. Enclosed by the loop. And it doesn't touch itself diagonally, so that must be green. And the loop has to get into box 3 and get out of it. But it can only touch a maximum of 3 cells. It's got to do that, hasn't it? We've got a bit of a Loch Ness Monster forming now. I think it has to. And it has to touch the number 3 in box 3. And those go green. And I mean, this is progress. We're actually getting somewhere already with this loop. That's much quicker than I expected. Now, do we know that it joins up? So this is box 5, and it's a maximum of 5 cells that we can touch within it. This is green, and that has to get out. And then this has to carry on down the end column to there at least. And now I suppose we have to think about the problem of enclosing magic squares. Because there's 2 magic squares to enclose, and I'm wondering, is that 2 separate and side-by-side 3x3 areas that must be enclosed? They can't overlap, can they? For 2 magic squares to overlap. Okay, here's what I know about magic squares. A 3x3 magic square has to have that's using the digits 1 to 9, has to have a 5, we're not talking Parker squares, no, has to have a 5 in the middle. Because 5 is the only digit that can sum with 4 other pairs to make 15, which has to be the total, because if you divide 45, the sum of the digits 1 to 9, by the 3 rows, every row adds up to 15. I should really do that in the proper order. So let us consider a 3x3 area as a magic square. We know that the digits 1 to 9 add up to 45 because, as you are my favourite people, you've heard this secret before. If you haven't, you've heard it now. and therefore the square adds up to 45, and each row has to add up to a third of that, therefore, which is 15. So must every 3-cell diagonal and every column. Now, the central cell adds with 4 other pairs to make this 15 sum, and the only digit that can do that is a 5. So I'm just aide-memoiring a magic square here. Now the next thing we know is that for both 1 and 9, there are only 2 ways they can add with 2 other digits to make 15. For 1 it's 159 and 168, and that means these corner cells, which have 3 lines coming from them, are not eligible to have 1 and 9. So 1 and 9 must end up in cells adjacent to the 5. And once that's happened, we know that every row and column has to have either 3 or 1 odd digits in to come to the total of 15. And that proves that all of these cells adjacent to the 5 are odd digits. So these are what I know about magic squares. And let's now get rid of the aide-memoire having done that. No, let's actually not. Let's think about this in terms of overlapping. See, I think the only place at which 2 magic squares could overlap is the corner, because each square goes odd, even, odd. No, sorry, the other way around. Even, odd, even at the edge. So you couldn't overlap the yellow square with a square like that, because the odds and evens would be wrong. You couldn't do it here because the 2 5s would be in the same row. And I mean, the same stuff applies to that and that overlap position. So I think the only overlap position that you could achieve is that one, which you could. And I think in this grid we might be able to rule out that overlapping possibility, because now we've got these purple cells in these boxes. You can't use 5 rows for the magic squares, because each one has to be 3 big, and the 5th row you can't use row 4. There's nowhere for a 3-cell region. So the first row we can use is row 5, and then the 4 rows that you are allowed to use are there. You can't use the 5th row, or you can never, it's the bottom row, so you could never enclose the 2 magic squares. Therefore they don't overlap at all, and they are side by side. Now we can use 4 rows. In fact, we have to use 4 rows because the 2 5s can't be in the same row. So 4 rows is the maximum number of rows we can use for the magic squares. It's also the minimum because the 2 5s can't be in the same row. Therefore we are using 2 side-by-side magic squares in these 4 rows, and they're bounded by purple. Now, where are they placed? See, that could be 1, and that could be 1. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Okay, I'm going to now think about box 4, which is a bigger number than box 2. Absolute knowledge bomb there. But it's still not very big. And that means that for this, the purple line, actually, the loop, cannot go to this cell. Or to get out of the box, it would have to take another 2 cells, and it would use 5 cells. And I think by the same token, it can't use this cell, can't even use this cell to just get there. It would use 5 cells. So it could be like that, or like that, or like that, or it could come out here. But we must be a bit bounded on the 24 cells we're going to enclose now. Now I think, yes, wherever the magic square, okay, we originally bounded the 4 rows that we can use for the 2 magic squares and that we must use. I think we can now bound the 6 columns. If they're side by side, as we worked out they must use 6 columns, and surely it must be these 6 columns. You couldn't have a magic square in column 2 because we've unpurpled these cells. So the 2 magic squares are in this 4 by 6 region because they're using these 4 rows and these 6 columns. And therefore they are either that group of cells and that group of cells sitting side by side, or they're that group of cells and that group of cells sitting side by side. And therefore the 5s, which have to be in the center, are either here or here, and either here or here. It's an X-wing on 5s. Oh no, it's much better than that, because these 5s will not be in the loop. And therefore this digit cannot be that 5 that is in the center of the magic square, because obviously by nature the magic square digits are not in the loop. So that's not a 5. This is 5. This is the center of one magic square. Let's make the magic squares different colors. Yellow and light blue, say. I say while we try and work them out. But those yellow and light blue are also not on the loop. So the purple loop has to get outside them, and we can draw a bit more of it in. Quite a lot more of it, actually. It's got to pass under that yellow square. Now we could think about enclosing exactly 24 cells within the loop. So the 2 squares are obviously 9 plus 9, that's 18. We've already coloured 3 more green cells, that's 21. This one is clearly green now, 22. And then we have to fit in exactly 2 more cells. So this one can be ruled out, because if that was green, these 2 would be, otherwise the loop's touching itself. So that is now not in the loop, that's purple. This one in the corner is green. Then we have to find 2 more cells out of these 4 candidates, I think. I don't know how to do that, actually. I thought we were going to finish the loop. I'm not so sure now. Okay, now I'm going to go back to... We still need to join up this loop, but I can't finish it yet. I'm going to go back to the rule about digits having to be on the loop within their box number. So one of those is a 5. Oh, yeah, I don't know. One of these is a 6. One of these is a 9. One of these is an 8. Somewhere here there's a 7. It's not actually that helpful, so we won't do that rule. We'll do the magic squares. Okay, these cells we now know, because we worked this out, I demonstrated it earlier, they're odd. And the other ones in the corners are even. Now, these cells are all not on the loop by virtue of where they appear. Sorry, that really has rendered this whole thing very unclear. Are you okay to just remember that the corners are even and the other cells, these cells, are odd? Now, this one can't be 1 or 5 because it sees those digits. It's 3, 7 or 9. But look at that, it's in box 7. So this can't be a 7 because the 7 in box 7 has to be on the loop, and that cell isn't. So now we've already got this down to 3 or 9. The cell opposite it in this row that adds up to 15 is therefore either 7 or 1. And that's in box 8. And these are both odd. Let's do that here as well. First of all, let's put in all the odd candidates. It's probably better than the color flashing. Now, This is box 5, that's box 9, so this can't be a 9, or it would have to be on the loop, so that can't be a 1. So actually that didn't help all that much, but let's put in 2, 4, 6, 8 in the even cells and then do some eliminating just in case it helps. This is box 4, so this can't be a 4. And then opposite it on this 3 cell diagonal, we can't have a 6. And this is box 8, so this can't be an 8. And opposite that, we can't have a 2. And now look at this pair. Yes. Okay. Yes. If that was a 6, this would either be a 3, needing this to be a 6 to make up the 15 sum. And that is not possible because there would be 2 6s. Or if that wasn't a 3, it would be a 9, and we'd already be up to 15 with a digit still to go. So that is not a 6. And I think we're going to solve at least this yellow magic square now. 8 there gives us a 2 here. Again, we can't have a 9 here because the sum would be too big, so we get a 3. 8 plus 3 is 11, we need a 4. 4 plus 2 is 6 along the bottom of yellow, so we need a 9. That puts a 1 here, and a 7 here, and a 6 here. And we've made up our yellow magic square. And I guess, well, I'm going to turn it green now, because we don't need to think about its properties anymore. We just need to think about it being part of the 24 cell area. Now, this can't be a 1-9 pair, and must be a 3-7 pair since we got that. This digit can't be 3 or 7. That's a 1. So that's 9. 9 is sitting, as we can see in this square, between 2 and 4. So that's a 2-4 pair. This is box 5 and 6. So this is a 6-8 pair, but this is box 8. And we can't have a 6 here. Sorry, we can't have an 8 here for that reason, because it would be not on the loop, and 8 in this box is on the loop. So that's a 6. That gives us a 4 on this 15, this 15 diagonal. That lets us fill in the other digits in this magic square, and both magic squares are done. That was the next step. Isn't this a brilliant puzzle? I mean, that rule set was very simple. And now I've got 19 digits done in the puzzle, and I'm confident about them. Now, hopefully we can just use we've used the whole of the magic square rule. We've got these rules about the digits having to be on the loop in their box number and not using the max. We've basically settled the problem about not using the maximum number of cells. That's resolved. Okay, let's do Sudoku. So in this row we need a 4. That's got to be here. We've got the rule about dominoes not adding to 7 and 10 if they use a loop cell. That's a naked 2. It sees every other digit in its row or box. And that's a 4-9 pair. We've got an X-wing on 9s. The 9 in column 3 has to be up here somewhere. And there we go. The 9 in column 3 cannot be next to the 1, or that would be 2 cells adding up to 10 that weren't both off the loop, which is the rule. So we can put in a 9 there. Now, I don't know if the rest of this is going to be hard or easy, actually. It's quite an interesting problem to wonder. The 9 in this box is on the loop. So now, those cells have all been ruled out by Sudoku. So that sorts out the loop here. The 9 has to be there. That's on the loop. So the loop goes there. And now, have we got all of our 24 cells? We've got 9 there. 9 there is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. The loop has to now fit tightly around the 24 cells we've enclosed, and we finish off the colouring. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the green colouring because it's done its job and it's quite strong. Now we have to put 8 on the loop in box 8. We have to put 7 on the loop in box 7. We have to put 4 on the loop in box 4. That's got to be here. So that gives us a bit more traction. 2, 5, 3. We have to have 6 in one of those cells in box 6. Sudoku, that's a 2 in box 9. Now having done that pencil marking, the rest of the puzzle is filling this in without having dominoes summing to 7 or 10 that touch the purple cells. I'm right, I think. That's the rule. Okay, so 8 and 4 are here. This is 1 or 3. But it's only when it touches purple that we have to worry. Yeah, that's a bit strange. Oh, this is a 5-9-4 triple. In fact, that's a 5-9 pair by Sudoku now, given that we had pencil marked 5 for the loop rule. That's a 4. This is a 3-8 pair. 2-9-4. These are from 1-5-6-7. That's not a 1. Okay, I don't know quite what to do with the rest of that. The 9 isn't threatening to touch a 1 here. Oh, 2 is placed in box 2 there. Now, okay, what about this cell? It's not allowed to be 5 or 8 for touching the 2, which makes it 3. It can't be 3 because 3 is in one of those cells, so that is 4 or 9. If it was 9, that would be a 5. I can't see the problem there. Okay. Am I missing big deductions here, or is this really, we're going to kind of have to pick this apart? Oh, look, there's a 6-7 pair of pairs there, so that's a 6-7 pair. This is 3 or 8 by Sudoku. 6, 7. They're not forbidden from touching 2. That can't be a 3 because of this. So this can't be a 7 or a 4 by the rule. 4, 3, 8. So that's 5 or 6, which is a bit of a surprise that we can limit it that much. 8 is in one of those cells by Sudoku, sort of, now. And that mustn't touch 2. Not interesting. 9, 4, 5, 3, 2, 8. Okay, sorry. One of these is a 2. Now that does mean that the other one can't be 5 or 8, but we knew both of those anyway. 4, 9, 7 has to be in one of those. Not touching 3, which it can't do. And it might down there. 1, 8, 4, 2, 9. Okay, I don't really know how to go about the rest of this. 2, 7, 6. Neither of these can be a 6. Where does 6 go in this column? It mustn't touch a 1 that's on the loop, and it mustn't touch a 4 in that pair in using the loop. So 6 has to be there. That's quite tough to spot. And then 6 plus 1 is not allowed, so this isn't a 1. However, that doesn't finish the row. 2, 5 and 7 are needed in the rest of the row, and by virtue of the fact that we were already looking at possible sums of 7 and 10, there probably aren't any others to worry about there. I can't see that there are. So 1, 2, 7, 6. This is 3, 4, 5, 8 or 9. That is far too much to choose from to make it a useful place to look. 6, 8, 4, 9. One of these is a 3, but I'm not really allowed to form deductions about that pair. Oh, 4, 3 there. No, that's fine because they're not on the loop. That's irritating in a way. Spotting possible 7s or 10s and then finding out they're legal is quite annoying. That can't be 1. 2, 9, 3, 4. But I mean, that's not enough to get anything done. This can't be 3 because of the 4. Or 6 actually because of the 4 as well. 1, 8, 4, 2, 9 can't be 3 or 6. It is 5 or 7. 1, 8, 4, 2, 9 now. That's no use. This is strange. This one is 6, 7 or 8. Just by Sudoku. Is this really, really difficult now? 9's in one of those two cells and can't be with a 1. I mean, that means this can't be a 1. That's so uninteresting. 4 is in one of these 3. Is there some reason it would have to be next to 6 if it was here? I don't think so. 9, 5, 9. All we've really got to go on now is avoiding these 7 and 10 dominoes. And unless that's much easier to spot in some method that I haven't managed to use. See, that, I want to say that can't be a 1 because it's next to a 9, but they're off the loop. It can. It's a very strange conditional negative constraint. And it's getting on my wick. Oh, goodness. Okay, 2's in one of those cells. That's just Sudoku. Maybe we just do need to do a bit of Sudoku. I'm going to say 4's in one of those, because that's true. Okay, 1, 5, 6 and 7. 1 and 6 can never touch in these cells. Therefore, this can't be 6, or it would touch a 1. That's interesting. Now, that can be 6. Oh, this can't be 6. Because of 4 and 6, yes. So 6 is in one of those two cells. Where it can't be with 1. So 1 is in one of these two. And then 1 is in one of these two, which are now a 2, 1 pair. So everything else in this column is from 5, 6 and 7. And this can be a 6. One of those is a 6. That can't be a 5 because of the 5 in the box. Oh, there's a 5 in one of those two cells, so that's not a 5. That's 2 or 7. If that was a 2, this can't be a 5. Oh, we know 5's in one of those two. In this box, it has to be. So in fact, that's not a 5. Now, this can't be 6. So I think I've got 1, 7 and 8 as possibilities. And I don't know. One of those is a 1, we've worked out. There's a 3 down here somewhere. Okay, there's a... Oh, this... No, that could be a 1. Touching a 6 there is allowed. It's just not allowed to touch a 6 or a 9 here. Gosh, this is weird, but okay, where 5, 7, 6, 9, 2, 1, 3, 4 and 8 to place. 4's in one of those, so 3's in one of these. Oh, 8 can't be in those cells, or there'd be a 10 being formed. 8 has to be here. That makes this 3, 8 work in the middle. Now there's an 8 up here. That's not going to help much. 3 though. 3 can't be here, or that would be a 4, 3 pair. So that's a 3. This is now a 1, 4 pair. And it can't be 3, 4, because that would add up to 7. Oh, it's complicated, but it does get the job done. 3 is placed there in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spot. This can't be a 5, or we'd have a 7 pair touching the loop. That is now a 5, 6, 7 triple. This is a 1, 8 pair. 7 has to be on the line here in what is now a 5, 6, 7 triple again. But 7 has to be on the line. That can't be a 6, we know that. Oh, this can't be a 1 next to a 9. It's crazy. So that's resolved. 5, 7 pair here gets a 1 done over there. This is now a 6, 7, 8 triple, 4, 5, 9. That's a 2. And these are 1 and 3, and Sudoku lets me put them in. That is not a 2 anymore. Now, still looking for little 7 and 10 combos that have to be forbidden. I feel like a party pooper clamping down on 7 and 10 combinations. I didn't really get much further there. I don't really want to look at these cells in any context of dominoes because they just don't matter. They're allowed to do anything. That can't be a 3, so the 3 is placed. It has to be on the loop, doesn't it? So it's there. That's not allowed to be next to 7 or 4 because it's on the loop. So we've placed 4 now, not in the corner, but this can be 4 next to a 3. 4, 3. This is not allowed to be 7, so that's 6 or 8. The only 7 in the column is here, and that finishes this trio, and that finishes this trio, and that finishes column 7. This is now a 6, 7, 9 triple. That can't be 9. Again, there may be rules. No, I don't think there are any. Even forming 10 doesn't seem possible. Oh, maybe that can't be a 1. Oh, that's a 5 by Sudoku. 5 mustn't be next to 2. Yes, okay. Wow, I mean, it's mad, this thing. 5 or 7 there or there, not sure. This is 4, 8 or 9. It's not allowed to be 4 because it would be next to 3 now. 4 in the column has to be here. 4 in column 1 is there. That's now 9. That's 8. I feel like we're making progress. Look, there's a 5, 6, 7 triple in column 2. So we can write in 2 and 3 at the top. That places 3 here. This is a 1, 5 pair, which are disambiguated. That's 8 in the top row. This one is, this one is 5, 6 or 7. Pencil marked everything. That can't be a 9. Yes, it can. In fact, I was getting very upset. I thought it couldn't be a 9 for being next to a 1, but they're off the loop, and indeed it is the only place where 9 can go in the row. So everything else to resolve, once I do those, is 5, 6 or 7. And there's, yes, 6 and 1 is not allowed there. There we go. That'll probably do the rest of the puzzle, which is incredible. What an intriguing construction. What a genius lithium ion is. And what a pleasure it is to bring you an absolutely fascinating puzzle like this with a loop in it but no clues in the grid. Marvellous scenes. I'm very happy with that. I don't know, it just really, really appeals to me. Not just the fact that we've got a sort of pink heart shape at the end. Anyway, thank you for watching. Sorry about the fan noise, and I will be back with another of these tomorrow. But absolute pleasure to be with you, and brief congratulations to my son on his GCSE result. Bye for now.